Yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably got buffed in prison. I'm pretty positive my dad for sure was somebody's bitch for a little bit.
Let's get dumb and have some fun. Let's get dumb and have some fun. Let's get dumb and have some fun. Get dumb and have some fun.
Welcome to Let's Get Dumb, the podcast where I, comedian Joe Kilgallon, and comedian Jonah Jurkens like to ask dumb questions, tell dumb stories, make dumb lists, and just have a dumb old time with you. We got producer Austin on the ones and twos, and to my left is the man with the plan, the guy who just loves wearing tight t-shirts, bold shoulders, bolder takes, the one and the only, Jonah Jurkens.
I do like bold shoulders, bolder takes.
You like that one?
I did like that one.
I don't know why I said tight t-shirts.
That was good. Well, I will say that man with the plan kind of fucked me up because you just started without even letting me know. You didn't give me a 3, 2, 1. You didn't even give me that.
That's why I stretched though, because I saw you drinking water out of the corner of my
you didn't
eye.
even give me that the Wayne's World like 5, 4. And
Right,
you,
yeah.
onto you, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're going now."
Yeah, I cut to Jonah just chugging down that
Yeah.
Did you?
jar, and he was like leaning so far. It's
I was
really
like, I
funny.
was a second away from saying, "Hey, just give me 1 second. I need a little water in my mouth. I need a little squirt in my mouth, Joe."
That's why we got Austin on the ones and twos, producer Austin.
Yeah.
I saw you out of the corner of my eye.
No, I saw you.
apologize.
I
should've-
appreciated the stretch.
I should have let you know, but Austin came over going, "We're ready whenever." So I was just like, "Whenever's
Yeah, let's
today.
fucking go,
Whenever
dude.
is right, motherfucking now."
Yeah, right now. There's no tomorrow. Right now.
It might not be.
Yeah.
Right now. Oh,
Yeah.
your Van Halen song?
Uh-huh.
Underrated tune.
Yeah.
The best of the Sammy Hagar Van songs.
I
Van
think-
Halen songs.
Yeah, I think it's it's the curse of this was the song for a failed pop soda.
What soda?
Because it was
Pop, I mean.
I say soda, you say pop.
Yeah.
That's why I said pop soda for both of us.
Appreciate that.
It was the Pepsi Clear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crystal Pepsi.
Crystal Pepsi, yeah, thank you.
Crystal Pepsi rocks.
It does rock. I don't know why. I mean, I know why I didn't make it, but like it should have made it. Do you know what I mean? We should do that
What do you
failed.
mean it didn't make it?
Oh, businesses that
It
failed.
only lasted a
brands
couple
that
years
failed.
and then it
They
fucking
brought
died.
it back. I have a T-shirt.
Of course,
They
you
brought
can
it
do
back
it.
in-
Anybody has a
doesn't it-
T-shirt. Yeah,
Yeah, well, they
have a
brought it back
Blockbuster
in like
T-shirt.
2014.
I have a Blockbuster T-shirt as well. Like that's the right. Yeah, What are
I
you
have
talking about?
like a Crystal Pepsi in my room that's unopened.
Can I tell you guys the truth? I don't have a Blockbuster T-shirt. It just was the first failed business that popped in my head, and I said I had a T-shirt about it.
Well,
You
it sounded
do.
like I just yes-anded you to yes-and you. I actually do have a Blockbuster T-shirt.
That's pretty great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about that one.
Yeah. Sorry, Austin. Pepsi Clear was not a success. So
You don't get a lot of compliments on my Chuck E. Cheese T-shirt.
that's pretty dope. Dude, I almost bought a Captain Crunch T-shirt the other day.
Okay.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
Are you a guy that like we've talked about this on podcasts for me, but are you a guy that like if you get a compliment on like let's say you made a choice for a T-shirt and then you get a compliment on it, you're like, that's all I'm doing. I'm buying every fucking vintage cereal T-shirt I can find.
No.
Really?
Well, because like I have a Dumb and Dumber T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen me wear it?
I think so.
It's pretty good. It's white.
Yeah,
It's
I believe you've worn it on the
movie.
podcast before.
Yeah, I might have. I've gotten a lot of compliments on that.
Okay.
What am I gonna do? Run out and buy a bunch of movie T-shirts?
I did.
Well, yeah. I don't think
Oh,
you do that. I
Give me a
think this is
compliment on
the
something.
original.
Dude, Daddy's buying it all day long.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I have a problem with that.
I like that Blackhawks hat.
I know. I've gotten a compliment. I've bought multiple Blackhawks hats since I've gotten this hat.
Why do you think that is? What is that about?
I just like, you know what it is? Just like, it's like you got to let the world tell you where you should go with your life.
That sounds like the worst advice I've ever heard in my life.
No, I mean, like, I think you should let people, like, you should make your, let's say, style. You should make your style choices, but you have to let the public let you know if you're making the right ones or not.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
No, there's some
Like, kind of guide you.
validity.
Right.
Validity. I can't
Yeah.
talk.
It's like sailing. Like, you can choose to go with the wind or you can choose to go against it. But if you go against the wind, you're stuck in the water alone.
When people tell me like, "Hey, dude, I really like that sweatshirt," I go, "Thank you," and then that's it.
Oh no, I go
more sweatshirts.
in my head, duly noted.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And then I'm trying to find something similar, but even a deeper cut.
That I can understand. Being like, "Oh, you think that shirt was cool? Wait until I find something even
Yeah.
wilder." All right, that makes sense. Because if you were told, "Hey, I really like that," X-Men T-shirt, you're gonna go out and buy 50 X-Men T-shirts.
Yeah, I get a Gambit T-shirt, and then I'd
got
get a
Gambit.
Professor X T-shirt, and then I get I'd get a Rogue. Yeah.
Oh man, would we ever do like female cartoon characters we want to bang? Rogue's number one on my list.
Really?
No, she would kill me because of her powers.
Yeah, true.
She's just sexy, dude.
Yeah.
Sex kid in that Rogue.
I would say it's
You know she likes a doggy. Oh baby, come on, man. Right?
sure. Uh-huh. While you were doing that, I was trying to rack my brain on the first video game I remember where the girls had jiggly boobs, and it was in Ready to Rumble Boxing.
Nice.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh my god, these things are bouncing all over the place.
Jiggly boobs. Very fun to say.
Jiggly boobs.
Very fun to look at.
Yeah.
Would that be a good name for a band?
Jiggly boobs.
We're gonna go see Jiggly.
It's gonna be an
Boobs
Irish
tonight.
band.
No,
That's an Irish band.
because of the word jig.
Yeah, jiggly. Yeah, jiggly. Yeah, I think because I think of last Boy Scout where he's like, oh god, if I survive through this, I'm gonna dance a jig at the end of this.
Ah.
And then he survives, and guess what? Dances a jig.
Bruce Willis does.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Looking
Bruce.
back at it, it's probably because he wasn't mentally capable of realizing what he was
that
doing.
that movie is
So
from
it probably was an improvised moment that they were like, we don't know what's going on here. We gotta fix this,
Oh
bud.
no.
It's 30 years ago.
Right. So he's been suffering for that long,
That long. Wow.
and he's a hero of mine.
Oh,
This man's a
sorry.
hero.
To go back on the shirt stain, I'm like that too, but I'm the opposite. So Joe once commented on my Hawaiian shirt, and then I threw it away. The next day.
Did I say something nice? That doesn't
No,
sound like
you
me.
ripped him apart. You ripped him apart. He was in his head all night about it.
Really?
He talked
I'm
about
sorry.
it a lot.
Yeah, you're
All
like-
I said was, "This could be your look for the summer."
No,
You did
but
say
then,
something
but
like
then
that.
you went like, all these kids are dressing like this for the summer. I just wanted to know. And then I was like, are they? And then I just threw it away.
And you know what's funny? I like that shirt on him. I thought that was a good choice.
I threw it away.
So for some reason, it takes your fucking opinion over mine.
Well, Joe's
Well, I
the
am
common
cooler
man
than you.
opinion. I was like, if Joe's saying that, probably other comics are saying that because Joe's a comics comic. That's how I saw that.
The fuck am I? My chopped liver over here?
No, you're
What am
a
I,
funny
chopped liver
comic.
here?
But,
What am I?
like Joe is like a Chicago comedian.
What am I chopped liver over here? Hey, what am I chopped liver? Hey, what am I chopped liver?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna see
I
any
did
on
get a
that.
compliment on racing shirts, and now I own 12.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah, brother. No, dude,
Oh,
I
dude.
feel like a dick for making you throw away a shirt, but also, why would you throw it away? Why don't you just give it to someone or donate it? What an asshole, man. People starving all around the world and shit.
I've had it.
That's
for
actually a
12
good point.
years.
12 years?
You had it for 12 years? It
12
showed.
years a shirt.
Wow, you're ahead of the game 12 years ago. Nice job.
Well, it's gone now.
Nothing makes me happier than if something gets popular after I've already been to it. I'm like, I've been on that tip for a while now. Celsius's? Jesus Christ.
You were
I was fucking,
a pioneer on
I was
that.
a pioneer on that. I think I was single-handedly keeping that business afloat.
And yet you didn't buy the stock.
I didn't buy the fucking stock.
It's just so
I don't want
unlike
to talk
you.
about that
I'm-
again.
I'm sad for you.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
Can we
man.
not talk about that?
I will
please?
not bring it up. I apologize.
No, I wore, like, when I started wearing jackets on stage, I know every comic does that now, but, like, the second
Hey, dude, I was wearing jackets.
you were on that before
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the second I got a compliment on one, I was like, I bought every color. Just every color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to mix it up.
It's good to mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so today's we got to start off with some gratitude as always. We want to thank all the listeners, everyone who subscribes to YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. You guys are the best. Thank you for supporting us. We love you very much. Also, I got a little bit of a stuffy nose. I thought it was allergies, but now I'm worried a cold is setting in. Like I feel fine. I've got good energy, but you can tell my voice is a little off, right?
I can't tell.
You can't?
No, I can tell you're a little off. I
feel
can't
it.
tell the.
You can tell it's my voice though.
No.
That felt rude. Felt personal.
For me?
Yeah.
Like,
Was
I don't
that
know
an-
you well enough?
Was that an
I
attack?
could see that.
You said I felt you could tell that I'm a little off. Like am I off in the fucking head? Is that what you're trying to?
Well, you've been off. You've been off in your head for a while.
I have
know
been
that.
off in my head for way too long.
For way too long. So it's not that you're psychotic. I've known that. I meant like you're off from your normal cadence and how you are. I can tell when you're off.
Thank you, dude.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Everything you said was very sweet.
Hey, Joe. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's not your fault. Hey, guys, this is our Father's Day episode because this episode's coming out around Father's Day. So we decided to do a fun little silly best TV dads.
Yeah.
And
Which are our dads now?
which are our dads now? Because
Yeah.
our dads are dead.
Our dads are dead.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we look to them for wisdom.
Yeah.
I don't have, I just think about my dad, but
Sorry.
you don't, apparently. No, I'm kidding.
No. Is Father's Day? Oh, sorry. We're gonna get serious here for a second. Is Father's Day still hard for you?
I mean, I don't know. A lot of days are hard for me. I don't think I've ever truly processed his death. believe
Really?
it Or not. Yeah.
Do you?
Learn that in therapy.
Well, because like I
'Cause
mean,
I didn't get a goodbye.
aren't you happy about? Okay, this is I kind of like this
No.
conversation. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
I've talked about this before, not to get dark on the episode, wonderful podcast listeners. That's
That's why they listen, man. Because we're real,
listen, baby. So there's a back and forth with like, here's my conclusion about death.
Uh-huh.
The way you want to die that is best for you is the hardest on everyone else. But the way that's hardest on you is best for everyone else. What I mean by that is the number one way people want to die, there was a poll, was peacefully in our sleep.
Right.
Right? That sounds great. No agony, no suffering. But because of that, your loved ones don't know you're about to die. don't know you're going to die. So they can't reconcile it. They can't, wrap their heads around what's about to happen. And there's a great deal of grief and I miss them. I should have said this. I should have said that. There's all these things, right? But the other way is you have some long battle with an illness so that your loved ones could just get to the point where they're like, I want him to die. He's in so much fucking pain.
But but then you watch your parents suffer. That's my point. This is my point.
No, I know, but that's my point. That's bad for you because you're suffering. But then as a loved one, you get to the point where you're like, when they finally do die, you're like almost happy that they're no longer suffering. Okay. It does suck to watch them suffer along the way, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a right answer to this.
There's no right answer to this.
But I just know that from my point of view, I was talking to him one day and then 36 hours later, I got that horrible phone call in the morning.
Yeah.
Didn't see it coming at all. He wasn't sick. He wasn't in the hospital. There wasn't any disease or anything like that. It was just went to bed, didn't wake up.
Yeah.
And because my dad and I had a great, great relationship, like whenever something cool happened, my thought was always, I can't wait to tell my dad this.
Yeah.
Like today, I was on the radio, WCPT. It's Progressive Talk in Chicago, 8:20 a.m. It's also in Minneapolis and Seattle. We interviewed Michael Rooker, who's just like one of the greatest character actors of all time. Wow. Yeah, I got to talk to him for like 45 minutes. The guy was awesome. I was making him laugh, so that felt really cool. I mean, this guy was in Mississippi Burning. He was in JFK.
Days of Thunder. We just had a clip
Days of
that.
Thunder.
Cliffhanger.
He actually just told us they're doing a Mallrats 30th anniversary in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And all the actors from Mallrats are going to be there.
Is that a Chicago movie?
No, but they're just doing it in Chicago because it's a big convention town. Also, he's in the latest season of Righteous Gemstones. Yeah. He's I told him, I go, dude, you made me cry in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because he plays the blue guy, Handu. Thank you. He's great in that. He's great in everything he's ever been in. He's so good. Tombstone. You mentioned Tombstone? Someone said Tombstone, right? No?
No, but yeah, he's in Tombstone.
He was in Tombstone. Yeah. Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, he's so good.
So good, right? I remember as it was happening and I made him laugh a few times, I'm like, this is something I'd be telling my dad immediately. Mm-hmm. He would have got a kick out of it. You know?
Did you see Henry, Portrait of a Killer?
That was his first ever role. And that's what Patty Vasquez, it's her show. It's called Driving Home with Patty Vasquez because it's 5 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. She came across a list of best serial killers or psychopaths.
Yeah, it's always like number one usually.
Yeah, he got number 3 for this one. Yeah. Can't remember who the top 2 were. But
Christian
yeah,
Bale or
and that was his first ever role.
Really?
Isn't that insane?
I didn't know
that was filmed in Chicago.
Wow. Okay.
That movie was filmed in Chicago. Yeah, because he grew up in Alabama until he was like 12 or 13 and then moved to Chicago. So he spent his teen years and his early 20s in Chicago. Yeah. Went to DePaul University.
Okay.
And went to high school not too far from here. I don't want to say the name of the high school because then people could figure out where you live, Jonah. I'm not dumb, internet. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I don't know what we got on this. Because we're talking about Father's Day and stuff like that. So because
something important happens that you want to talk to your dad about.
Yeah, we had a great relationship, but we're both, of Irish culture. So we weren't lovey-dovey. We weren't hugging each other. We didn't say I love you. We didn't do that. So I think for a long time, I always envisioned in my head, he'd be like on his deathbed and then I'd be able to tell him that he was the greatest dad. I'd be able to have that moment. Yeah. And that'd be a nice final thought for him as, whatever happens to you when you die. Yeah. Right. I don't know. So because I didn't get that, I think, it's always kind of fucked with my head a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think about it every day, but I think there's something, with any psychological issue, there's some underlining thing that you might act a certain way and you have to peel back the layers. That's what good therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists or whatever are good at. They could peel back the layers and be like, it's this. And then you are like, oh shit, fuck, it is that. I'd even put that together. Okay, cool. Well, now that I know, I can at least be aware of it and then try to navigate. Anyway, we wanted to pick TV dads. Oh, you said because we don't have dads, and we were asking me if Father's Day was hard.
Yeah.
I don't remember last Father's Day. I was in Kansas City doing shows with Lisa Traeger. The first Father's Day was hard.
Yeah.
I don't think it's hard anymore.
3 years now?
Yeah.
Wow.
3 years now. It's more like I just like to reminisce on those days.
Yeah.
I don't think about my dad and burst into tears anymore or anything like that. I get sad, but then I try to remind myself of all the great moments because he was hilarious. He was the funniest guy I ever knew. So I'm fortunate with that. But now I have my kids, so I get to be a father to them. And then we have Father's Day, and they draw cute pictures and stuff like that. They're at that sweet age where it's like,
before they hate you.
before they hate me.
Yeah.
Yeah, before they become
You're like 10 years away from
teenagers and hormones and all that
that.
shit.
Yeah. Where they just want to like go against the thing. Yeah, for me, honestly, it's like I'm glad that I lost my parents the way that I did. No, I mean, I'm obviously not glad that I lost my parents, but there's a part of me that I did because I never got to see them old. I didn't have to like change their diapers. I didn't have to like watch them get sick and just like see them deteriorate in front of me. So it's just kind of like one day I could text my mom and the next day just kind of ghosted me in more than one way, I guess. Yeah. Like it's just this like
No, I'm not saying I wanted my dad to suffer though. My dad would have been horrible too with that.
No, but I'm saying that in a selfish way.
Well.
I'm saying that in a selfish way where it's like I don't want to see my mom, but also it's like selfishly it's like, you know, you're being reminded of your mortality more, I guess, in that way. And then you're also, I mean, obviously you don't want your parent to suffer, but also it's just like you're seeing them suffer. Or like, I know my girlfriend's struggling right now because her parents are getting up there in age. Just watching that happen, it's like I never had to deal with that.
I don't think I wanted to like suffer. I don't want people to get me wrong on that.
You want your parents to die, have them die in the 60s. It's the best.
I just wanted to like closure, like a goodbye type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
60s, I don't think that's the best. You want to live. 60s isn't old anymore, or it doesn't feel old.
No. If you're gonna lose your parents, I say lose them in your 60s. You know what I mean?
Lose them in their 60s.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but my uncle's good.
But why? What's your rationale behind that?
Because then you get to see them get old and like watch them like piss their pants and shit.
Yeah, some people age fun and
that's
cool
the thing.
way.
Is my
grandma.
My grandma's she's turning 96 on Sunday, so like, and
you hope you have her genes.
I know all my grandparents lived until their mid 90s.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, all four. I mean, unfortunately, I have one left now, but like, but they did it in a good way where they just got sick out of nowhere. Like, so all kind of happened quick. So, and then they aged really well. Like my grandmother's still pretty lucid and she's there and she's great. So like my uncle, I get to see, you know, so he didn't get to experience that, but like, I don't know, man, like just the one day they're there and one day they're not is to me easier to process. Yeah. That's my own journey, but like, it's just easier to be like, oh, whatever it is, you know, but I didn't talk to my mom every day. So to me, it's just like, is she ever gonna call me back? You know what I mean? And then you kind of forget about it. It's kind of like that. That's kind of like that's how I have how I have finish that word for me.
Decompartmentalized or compartmentalized?
Compartmentalized. I can't. We figured it out together. Compartmentalized it. That's how I did that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do you think, not to get psychological with you, do you think you could trace back, you've been open on this podcast about panic attacks and stuff. You think you could trace anything back to that feeling of I'm going to die one day because you lost your parents young?
Well, yeah. So I suffered from those before that.
Oh, okay.
But they came back a little bit after my dad died. For some reason, my dad's, and this is a processing problem. And this is when you, like what you're saying, like you look back, you kind of have to figure it. It's like my dad's was like, for some reason that fucked me up more because I really was having like the mortality questions with that. And then for some reason when my mom,
who went first? I apologize.
My dad.
Okay.
It was a year before my mom, and my stepdad went a year before my dad. So it was like, or actually 6 months, I think. So it was like stepdad, dad, mom, then a bunch of friends. It was like
we've lost a lot of friends.
We've lost a lot of friends, and it was like that one fucked me up. But like for my mom, because with my mom, how that went was my uncle was like, "Have you heard from your mom? I haven't heard from her. I'm a little concerned." So then I texted my mom, "Hey, you all right?" I just checking in, and I didn't hear anything. And then we were performing. I think you were at that show. And then I get a phone call. And it's the news. Yeah, it's the news, right? So then she had MS, and I was like, oh my God, she fell. And she was like I thought she fell, and she was like calling out for someone to help her, like for me to help her. You know what I mean? I was like suffering through that.
Yeah.
And then I found out, sorry, spoiler alert, that she overdosed because she went off the wagon, which I didn't know. And then I instantly was just like, okay.
Heroin?
No, I think it was what's the other big killer right now that's in coke?
Oh, fucking
yeah. What is with us today?
Hold on, shit. I was talking about this
Austin
yesterday.
had
Fentanyl.
I think it was a fentanyl overdose. I don't really know. I didn't even want to know. That's me deflecting, but like it was like a painkiller thing. But so then I found out it was like basically like she took whatever she took. She stood up. She basically just died instantly. So then I didn't know that she didn't suffer.
Yeah.
And that helped. And for some reason I had this weird rush over me just being like, yeah, it's all going to be okay. I don't know why.
That's good.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird thing. Like so I think some of my panic attacks happened because I had meningitis as a child. I had like bacteria spinal, which is like a child killer.
Yeah.
And I had to be resuscitated for, I think, 4 times.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah, I was in a coma for a while. It was bad.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really bad. And
You should tell people these things because then they would like you more.
I don't want to do
just
that.
joking, I'm
Like
joking.
then I feel manipulative.
We were going so dark. I wanted to throw a little joke.
Yeah, I
at
don't
that.
know.
I'm kidding,
By yes energy.
yeah, you did.
But I guess my mom had the same thing. They were like, hey, you're gonna lose your son probably tonight. Like they're like,
That would make me want to do fentanyl.
well, no,
I
my mom did
know, I
fentanyl. My
know.
mom did fentanyl because she was in the room when my dad died and whatever.
Oh,
So
sorry.
yeah, it's a fucked up. It's a silly fucked up situation. But the point is that she had the same thing when something just rushed over her and she was just like, no, he's gonna be fine. And I was like, totally fine. I didn't have like, I mean, obviously I'm a fucking moron, but like, because it was one of those situations where it was like, if he lives through the night, he's probably be deaf, right? Because it's like it fucks
Yeah.
your system up big time. But she just was like, it's all gonna be okay, and I ended up being just fine. So it's like weird. I don't know if do you get like a sixth sense like that as a parent,
Like he's gonna be fine, or they're gonna be fine,
or like, yeah, I
whatever?
just know it's gonna be okay.
No, thank God though. I haven't had anything where
Yeah,
they're
that's a good point. Yeah,
ill. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
they've
yeah.
had like bouts of like, oh, they got a virus thing right now or pneumonia.
Mhm.
I mean, it's scary. It scares the shit out of you when it happens as a parent. But yes, you had meningitis and you didn't have any major side effects besides bisexuality.
That's more of a plus, I'd say. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
that's
side
like-
effect doesn't have to always be bad.
huh?
Just because I said side effect, I think you turned that into a negative. Some side effects are good.
So the side effects is you are who you truly were.
like
meant to be?
when I got my 3rd COVID booster, my penis grew 1.5 inches.
No, it didn't. You know it didn't. You know that it didn't.
No, it did.
No, it didn't.
That's why I always encourage people to get.
No, because I
vaccinated.
told you flat out. If you had 1 more inch, I'd be choking, and nothing changed.
Maybe your throat changed.
Maybe.
Adapt to survive.
Yeah. Who knows? So 1.5 inches, that would really change it.
That's a lot of penis.
It is a
When you
lot.
think about it, it's not by itself. Like if you saw an 1.5 inch penis, you'd be very sad for that person.
Right.
But any penis you had 1.5 inches to, it changes a life.
It does.
Think about it. If you had a 4-inch penis, which is below average, you get 1.5 inches. Now you're average. You're 5.5 inches. You're feeling like I'm an average guy. This is
Mm-hmm. Right.
wonderful.
Right.
If you have a 7-inch penis, you get 1.5 inches. You have a fucking huge dong now.
Yeah.
Like you were above average. You were good before. Now you're like fucking.
But now you're like
speaking-
almost like
almost
that's almost
too
like
big.
now you're cursed because it's like
Yeah.
it's a beautiful curse.
in a lot of ways, for sure.
mhm.
I like how we had to get Dick talking to this podcast. This
We've been
the
off it-
podcast
we've
should
been
be
off it
called-
for a little bit.
We have been. Have we not been off of it, Austin?
He's not even paying attention.
Dick Talk.
No, you have been. Yeah, I was writing this down.
We haven't been
Sorry.
talking about it. That'd be a good name for our podcast.
Dick Talk?
Dick Talk.
Yeah.
This-
yeah.
2 dudes talking about dicks.
It is someone with dicks.
How is that not a podcast? I feel
That's
like
gotta
that
be
should
one.
be. Was that what Come Town was about?
No.
You ever listen to Come Town?
No.
No, I never did either.
Yeah.
I know their Patreon was making like $400,000 a month, which made me want to kill
Of
myself.
course you know that. Yeah.
Well, no, someone told me,
Yeah.
and then I was curious. I was like,
And you
how
wrote
are
it
they
on
doing
a
it?
fucking mirror.
I wrote it on my
Lipstick.
vision board. By the way, this looks like I'm mad at you right now. What if I
does-
just did the
yeah.
whole podcast like this?
Yeah.
I got a weird energy right now because I popped a Celsius before the show.
Yeah. It's 8:00 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got some energy going. All right, well, let's get into our list. We're about
Okay.
25 minutes into the podcast.
So
It's list time.
So my
everyone.
question, so we're doing top 5 TV dads,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my question to you is, since you had, I never had like a dad presence in my life. If you can't tell by the way that I just carry myself all the time, like, did you compare?
Like if you had a dad presence, he would tell you not to sit that way towards another man the way you are right now.
what are you
Towards
talking about?
You're the
I'm
way you are
opening up
toward
to
me.
you.
Yeah, it's too much.
I'm opening up to
Can
you.
you angle your fucking thighs the other way?
Oh, I'm opening up to you. You know, it's funny. We've had this argument in the podcast
Have we
before.
before?
Yeah, it's been clipped
Feels
out.
like it. You're right, it has been. Okay, you're right, it has been. All right,
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
clipped
Go
out,
ahead.
yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
We're cycling
I'm just
jokes
giving
over
you.
here.
I'm giving you my. I was in therapy today, like you know, like we're like in couples therapy, just kind of help out a little bit, and I literally quoted something that happened in The Pickup Artist, and I was like, "Where's that from?" I was like, "Oh fuck, did I just quote The Pickup Artist in thrapy?" Which is insane.
That's pretty awesome.
And I said that out loud. Oh fuck, did I just quote The Pickup Artist? Because I'm talking about Kino touch, all that stuff.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah,
Did I come up in your couples therapy today?
today no,
Have I ever come up?
probably.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I like that. Something about that that feels fun.
But how do
many-
you
how
think
many-
you've come up though?
Not in good light.
No.
No,
No.
not
As-
in
no,
not in
as-
good light at all.
no.
That's for sure. I feel like there's probably about 10 people out there that talk about me in therapy, and none of it is in good light.
Not as much as you think. There's another person that we know that's been brought up more.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tell me after the podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Austin, you have to be in a relationship to be brought up, buddy. You have to mean something to be brought up. Okay, now I'm just being mean. I'm sorry, Austin. I love you. I love Austin.
Austin has such a sweet look on his face, but we know he could take it. So that's why we give him shit.
Yeah.
You know?
We're like buds.
Like if this was Fight Club, he'd be the one that would beat the shit out of. And when they asked why, we'd be like, I just wanted to hurt something pretty.
I'm
I
Jared
wanted to
Leto.
destroy. You're Jared Leto. I wanted to destroy something beautiful.
I don't want to be Jared Leto.
I
We do a clip for this part.
I thought
You
you'd be like,
show
I
pictures
want
you
to.
looking hot.
I want to show him what he could be. Instead, you want to break something beautiful.
I want to break his face.
Okay. So you're
That's a good line. I'm gonna say it to someone one day. If someone's getting out of line, I'm like, I'm gonna break your fucking face, dude.
okay.
I'll break that face.
Yeah. So your
break your
your
hair.
favorite TV dad is Dexter,
Mm-hmm. Well, he becomes a dad. What, season 4?
something like that.
Yeah, no, he's not. But I'm wishing I put him in there now.
So my question to you, I just called you.
You
I literally just
call
called you
me
dad.
dad?
I just called you dad. I just called you dad.
Whoa.
So my question to you, Papa, is would you compare and contrast these dads with your own dad?
I look for qualities that I think my own dad had, but I also look for qualities where in the series in which these dads were in, they showed how much they love their children and how they do anything for them. And sometimes it's disciplinary where it's like, I had to discipline you there. And other times it's like, I had to pick you up. You know, I had to get your back that time.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of looked for.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was definitely shades of my father.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I never had a dad because my dad left when I was 3, so I don't really remember him. I had a stepdad for a little bit, but he was kind of like out of the picture. Other than that, my mom never like got remarried or really dated enough for someone to want to be in my life. So I had like a blank slate of what I thought a dad should be. Do you know what I mean? So that was kind of fun where it's like, you know, I can kind of like make my favorite dad out of all these things.
That is fun. I like that for you. Were
I feel
you
like Frankenstein a dad between all these things. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question. Were you taller than your father?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
the
so.
reason
I think
I
we're
ask
about
is
the same height.
So your dad was 5'2"?
Fuck. Okay, first off, I'm exactly average assholes. I'm 5'9.5". Long distance high five again.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was too good.
But you know why I'm not as tall? Because all my men, except for my dad and my family, were 6 feet tall. Meningitis fucked up I never had a growth
Aw,
spurt because of
man.
it. That's a real thing.
It made you like dudes and made you shrimp. What a bitch of a disease.
I know. I'm gonna fuck my
Sorry,
brain
Tim.
up.
You fat?
I'm sorry.
No, but I did get fat brain because that's one of the reasons why. Like you'll notice in this podcast that I will confidently be saying the wrong word and I don't realize it. Like I have to really say Christmas shop instead of grocery shop. For some reason, those two words always aren't.
I fuck up April and August all the time.
Do you really?
Whenever I'm trying to say an April date, I will say August.
Yeah, it's weird how certain things. I still to this day can't say
Juxtaposition. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Like on my tour guide job, everyone, I'm a Wrigley Field tour guide. I don't think I've mentioned that on the podcast before, but I am. If you ever, hit me up, maybe I could give you a tour. Opening day of the ballpark was April 23rd, 1914. And I have to really say my brain before
Isn't
I
it
say
weird
it
how
because I
certain
want to say
things-
August. I always want to say August when I mean April. I just don't know what's going on with that.
And the problem is you brought it attention to your brain, so now your brain like almost says it more.
Hyper aware.
Yeah, like when before a set, they're like, "Hey, you can't say these words on stage." You're like, well, now I'm gonna accidentally say it. Like it's just I'm gonna say it more now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I only asked about your father's height and if you were taller because I just glanced at my list and I kind of picked dads for the most
Tall?
part that are kind of bigger guys.
Like bigger guys,
Like or
fatter?
tall and had a little bit of
stocky?
a dad bod, a little stockiness. Not
Okay.
that my dad was, although he did when I was a really little kid. I've got this great picture I could show you afterwards. That my dad's wearing a Cubs bucket hat. It must have been from like before I was born, like 1980, early 80s or something like that. He's probably in his mid 20s, but it was the early 80s. So in your mid 20s, you look like you were 48.
Yeah.
And he's smoking a cigarette. And he's
Yeah.
got a Cubs bucket hat. He just looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
It's like a vibe, as
Yeah,
the kids
yeah.
would say. And so, yeah, I think a lot of times because I had that image of my dad being a big guy because he was bigger than me, I think I gravitated towards these big dudes,
Yeah.
as father figures. It's kind of like just being like that big Papa Bear type of thing. It's
Okay.
like, let me get my paws on you,
When you got into a fight with when you had those like I hate my dad years like that we all do,
I don't really have those.
never.
Not so much. I mean, we would get mad at each other here or there because, like, I'd get a bad grade on a report card
Yeah.
and he'd be like, well, you're grounded for that. And I'm like, oh, this is bullshit, but never,
Yeah.
not too serious. I mean, yeah, of course, there've been little teenage bickerings, but not compared to other friends I had.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I was around some other friends when they're dead and then we're fucking going at it.
Really.
We never had like shit like that, like as common.
Yeah.
A couple times, but like
Yeah.
compared to my other friends' dad, no way.
Yeah. I was just wondering.
Very fortunate.
I was wondering if there's any times in your life where you're just like, why couldn't one of these fucking people be my dad?
Oh, as far as TV dads?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
that's shitty
I never had that.
I had my years with my dad where I was just like, what can't? Because I found out about the dad that would do the Ironmans with his like handicapped kid who I think was like severely autistic or something happened. And he basically like, obviously it wasn't wheelbarrow, but I'm just gonna say wheelbarrow. But like where he would basically run him because he was like, my kid loves it. I know it. So he like,
You wheeled him around.
well, he became this like fucking extra like elite athlete in his like 50s and 60s, all because he just wanted to be there for his son.
Yeah.
And Real Sports did a thing on it. And then I remember one time I got my dad and I was like, you even fucking know what it's like to be a father. Why don't you look up this person's name? And that's how a fucking father really is.
Did
Like
you
that.
really say that?
Yeah. And he goes, oh, you think you're a good son? I'm like, you're going to fucking do that to me right now? Like it was like a huge, like, whoa, blow up moment. And that was the moment when I was like, I went home and I was just like, all right. And I think this is important. My dad was an addict. And I think it's important if you have an addict in your life is that you have to figure out that they might not never change, right? They're not gonna want it. They don't have it in them to know to change. So you either give up on them or what I did is you accept them for what they are and you try to see the good that they are, because everyone has the good in them, and then you just focus on the good times that you've had, right?
That's very healthy. I like that.
Yeah, because that's
sweet. Even
when I had that time with now we're getting really serious, but that's when I had that realization with my dad. That's when him and I started having a good relationship.
Oh, okay.
When
cool.
I was like, stop taking it so personal. Like he's your dad. He's not your dad. He never was your dad. He is your father, but like he's not your fucking dad. He's Jeff, and Jeff is a good person. Like look at him as that. And then there will be times, man, where like, and I've mentioned this before, but I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast, but like, where it felt like his life was like a fucking hurricane. But sometimes you would get into the eye of the storm and it would just be him and I, and it was just like us just having a good time. You know what I mean? And then it'd go right back to his fucking whirlwind of his life. But it's just like, sometimes you just have to like, just be like, they're never going to change. I want to leave. I want to leave this earth having good memories with this person. So I need to.
Did you come to that yourself, or were you in therapy back then?
No, I came to that myself.
Damn, dude.
That was a thesis of my my eulogy.
Pretty intelligent for a fucking idiot. You know
I
what
know.
I mean? I'm just kidding.
No, my emotional.
That's incredible, man. I'm glad you shared that with everyone. Thank you for sharing that with everyone, because I think that's something that a lot of people could apply to their life and become happier for it and have better relationships for it.
But that being said, everyone on my list
this is like Let's Get Smart all of a sudden. This episode, I don't think we've been too dumb on this episode.
No. But I will say that's why, because everyone on my list, I for sure was a better father figure than my dad ever was for me.
Yeah,
yeah, for 100%. In one of them, you're gonna be like, really?
Lead off for us.
Okay. Are we doing orders here?
We can do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 if you'd like.
Okay. I kind of changed up my order a little bit, but I'm gonna do the kind of silly one first, and just because I always wanted a dad that was this silly, Al Bundy.
That's a good one.
Because he's like, yeah, he's kind
that.
of a piece of shit, but man, he's just funny. You know what I mean? And I wish my dad was like, they're all gonna be like, I wish my dad was like, but like, he was a really funny dude, but like just silly and like a kind of like almost like everything's an inside joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Al Bundy had that quality that you like, which was the tough dad.
Yeah, tough dad.
The dad that felt like he works too hard for too little reward. Everyone just wants from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't get any peace. But they had these great scenes in season 1 of Married with Children. It's going to be streaming somewhere. I don't know where, though. Maybe Netflix. Where he would wake up in the middle of the night to get something to drink. So he's coming down the stairs. He goes in the kitchen, gets himself like a glass of water. And he'd be halfway back up the stairs to his bedroom. Meanwhile, Kelly, his daughter, teenage daughter, would be making out with someone on the couch. So he'd be halfway up and then be like, walk right back down, grab the guy by the back of the neck, and then throw him out of the house. But before he threw him out of the house, he would slam his head off the door frame a bunch of times and then chuck him out of the house. It was always hysterical.
Yeah. Like if my dad had to be like a comically like stereotypical, that's the one I'd want.
That's
is
one
Al
you want.
Bundy. Yeah.
Very good choice.
Yeah.
I like that one. I'm going to do one of a similar vein. See, my top, I didn't really rank them, but whatever. My number 5 will be Phil Dunphy from Modern Family.
Okay.
Very goofy, silly. You could tell he's one of those dudes that as soon as he gets home from work, he wants to play with his kids. He wants to do something.
Yeah.
He wants to be
He's like a
involved in their
more
lives.
emotionally intelligent Al Bundy.
Yes, where Al Bundy doesn't have that.
Right.
Al Bundy wants to be left alone, but he'll always have his children's back. Where Phil Dunphy is like, I want to be involved in every way possible. Now, his oldest daughter, there's one scene in particular that went viral on like TikTok and Instagram Reels because it kind of gets you. You feel your feels when you watch this scene.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter was dating some guy way older than her, and he was real slimy, whatever. And he's like, his wife keeps going like, you're just going to push her further into this guy's arms. You got to relax. And he just loses it. He gets off the one part of the elevator and says, give me the car keys. I'm going after her. This shit might work for you and it doesn't say shit, but this might work for your family, not for me. This is my daughter. I'm not going to let this, slime bag jean salesman. She needs to know that she deserves the best and all this stuff. And you're just like, oh, that's great. But the daughter hears him saying it because she was about to get on the other elevator, but then his door opened and he came out just talking. And before he comes out, she says to her mom, oh, I'm such a disappointment to him. Does he even care about me anyway? Now she gets to hear him say how much he cares about her. So she immediately sprints and just like puts her arms around him, starts hugging him. And he's like not even sure why. And then the mom says, just go with it.
Yeah.
And that was just such a sweet moment right there. When you see that, that's why in these shows, when they're written well enough, they have that defining dad moment where you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, my number one is going to have a lot of those defining dad moments, just to let you know, for future sense.
We could end up
That's
having a similar list in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think so. I had a feeling we're going to actually maybe
Overlap a bit.
Overlap a little bit. I'm going to go... I was kind of changing my order. This is going to be a surprise one, I think, but I when I saw this on a list, I was like, oh yeah, I fucking love Jonathan Kent from Smallville.
Yeah, who's a good dad?
Mm-hmm. Great dad.
The Superman dad has always played well, I feel like.
Yeah. Kevin Costner, I think, did it the best.
Definitely. He was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. But like Smallville, did you ever watch Smallville?
I did. I love that show.
It's a fucking great show, right? Kind of embarrassingly good.
It was better than it should be. And it was one of those things where had it come out today, they would have been smart enough to build that proper universe.
Yeah.
Because that's what Marvel's done so well. We've talked about that in the podcast. The idea of like this person connects with that world and why wouldn't it, Because in the past, they just wouldn't do that. They would have separate people playing these roles and like, they're all in their own little thing. I love when things connect.
I just realized I should have said Luther's dad in that.
Who was Luther's dad in that?
I forget the actor's name, but like
oh, I remember
Lex
the
Luthor's
long
dog.
hair,
Yeah.
like the
because he's such a piece of shit. I should have said that.
That was good casting. That guy was a slime ball.
Yeah, because he was the bad guy in Gremlins too.
Yes,
and but yeah, it was so good. And the actor that played, also the actor was fucking badass early on. He's in Dukes of Hazzard, the dad. So he's like a dad that's fucking cool in the past, drove cool cars, decides to just kind of like give up, put up the cleats on that. I guess you wear cleats when you race cars, right?
No, I don't think so.
It gets better traction, doesn't it?
Not for a gas pedal.
Obviously, I'm not being serious here, guys.
Oh,
clearly I'm not being serious.
All right.
But yeah, and just like got so many good because I almost had Dawson Creek's dad.
Can't remember that dad.
But he died, and also he dies. But there's this one fucking scene that I hated that was like my instant oh, this guy's a fucking dork. Because there's a part where he goes, oh, first time I kissed your mom, he's like, I put on chapstick on my lips, and then I asked her if she wanted any chapstick, and I made out with her, and I was like, gross.
It is gross.
That's fucking gross.
I'm thinking from a woman's point of view, which
right.
He's like, you want some chapstick? Oh, actually, I could use something. He just starts kissing me.
Right.
This isn't chapstick, dickhead.
I know.
Oh, that poor woman. She was accosted. It
was 70s. It was back then. Yeah.
Crime's a crime.
Crime's a crime.
Yeah. All right. Well, good choice. My second dad is I'm going with the dad from Young Sheldon, which is a show I've only seen a handful of episodes.
Really?
I've seen these.
Made that much of an impression on you?
It did because it caught me. He dies in the show, I believe. Young Sheldon's a spinoff of The Big Bang Theory. And there's a great scene where not Sheldon, but his older brother has this girl, and then the girl's stepdad goes to pick her up, and then she's like, I'm not going. And then the dad's like, excuse me, because the stepdad grabs his kid by the collar. He's like, you mind putting my kid down? His dad's kind of a big burly guy. And he says to her, do you want to go with this man? And then she's like, no, I don't, sir. And he's like, well, you heard the lady. And he's like, are we going to have a problem? And he goes, you want to take this outside? And then the dad just goes, sure, why not? Then it cuts to the mom like cutting up food in the kitchen, and you just hear like a sound. And then the father comes in kind of rubbing his fist, being like, honey, will you call the cops? There's a bum sleeping on our porch.
Oh, nice.
He knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I always love that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like those moments, like I said before, where it's just like, be my dad. You know what I mean? Not that I would want someone over it, but that's the moment where you're like, yeah, this is the dad that everyone should want to be. I want to be that dad.
Have you had moments like that when you like walk away, you're like, fuck, that was a dad moment?
Can I tell you a moment I did that could be the version for my children's age? So my son Dylan, he's 6.
That's your oldest.
He's my second oldest. He's my middle child.
Dylan's
the middle.
life is going by.
My oldest child is 8. Matthew's 8.
8 already?
Yes.
Jesus
So
Christ, now I want to kill myself.
Dylan's 6, and he was Little League game. These 2 kids, I think they were because it's 6, they're 7-year-olds. They were 6 and 7-year-old division. They were messing with him a little bit, but I don't know if it was like bullying per se, but like, because Dylan was laughing, so he seemed to be getting along with it, but they were definitely kind of playing like keep away with his hat. The guy took his hat off and like throwing it, so that Dylan had to go grab his hat, and then the other kid would grab it back. And so for whatever reason, I'm watching this, and there's like coaches and parents around. No one say anything, so I'm just like, fuck this. This was like 2 weeks ago. I walk over, and to one of the kids, I go, hey, let me see your hat. I took it and threw it like 20 yards. And I go, not fun, is it, chasing a hat? And they go, Dylan, let me know if they grab your hat again. And then they just didn't mess with him after that.
So your idea of being a good dad is bullying little kids.
Yes, it was.
Okay, right,
One of my favorite moments with my dad growing up, which is probably why every dad on my list has a moment similar.
Yeah.
There was these bullies on my block, legit bullies who were like a few years older than me, who would really fuck with me and a couple of my friends who were 3 years younger than them. And one day they were throwing snowballs at us, and I went running back to we lived in an apartment, and my dad was off work that day. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, oh, those kids on the street were throwing snowballs. He's like, all right. And my dad put his coat on, his gloves and all that stuff. We walked down like 5 buildings down to their apartment and did a bunch of snowballs. And me and my dad together threw snowballs at their window. And then the mom came out. My dad threw a snowball like toward the mom. And I remember as we were walking by, he's like, oh, if it was a little further over, I would have gotten that bimbo in the face. And the word bimbo was that word has not been used anymore.
Yeah.
But I remember at the time just being like, my dad's the coolest fucker in the world.
Uh-huh.
So awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you're looking at me like it's not awesome, but it's awesome.
It is. Yeah. It is awesome. Okay, so
getting revenge. Look, it would be psychotic if we just roamed the streets doing that. Okay, but it's a revenge story, Jonah. I just want to let you know.
I see why on your point of view why.
Yes,
that would be because I would be like, oh, if my dad did that, it would be pretty fucking sweet. But I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of a psychotic thing that happened. Yes.
Well, like first of all, the mom came out as we were throwing snowballs at the door, so it's not like we went after her specifically.
Yeah, right.
The dad came out, he would have been in a lot of trouble because my dad would have knocked him around.
Has your dad ever been in a fight with like?
I think so. I never
Really?
witnessed anything.
Okay.
My older sister told me once about like she woke up in the middle of the night and my dad was icing his fist. So who knows?
Really?
Dude, I do remember this one time we were living in this apartment.
And please know that I'm not trying to like talk ill of your dad at all. By the way.
Yeah, I don't think you are. I think you're just asking questions.
Yeah.
I remember my landlord of our apartment that we lived in until we were 10 before we moved into a house. He like switched it was like a Seinfeld episode. He switched like the shower heads out or did something. He was like, oh, I got to work in the bathroom. He was like, fine. And then later my dad went in the shower and realized he did something. So he just lost it. And I didn't see it, but I heard my dad screaming at him in the hallway. And for the next like month, this landlord who lived above us was fucking terrified of my dad. He wouldn't go anywhere near it. That was one of the highlights at the wake. I loved when people would tell me like, oh, your dad was like the coolest guy growing up because there were people who grew up with him. Man, he was so funny, so awesome, but we were all afraid of him. Yeah. And I'm like, but why though? He said, because my dad was really a lovely, lovely guy. You know what I mean? He had that tough quality too, but he was really just a guy that was, laughing a lot and really funny. Yeah. But they were like, oh, just like little stuff like we'd be done playing hockey and he'd be like, no, we got to play more games. And then we'd be like, well, we're all tired. And then he's like, all right. And then he'd just start flinging pucks at us until we were like, fine, we'll play. I'm like, that's how you get good at hockey. You played college hockey.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad I would just hear stories about how my dad would get bullied in prison and his shoes stolen from him all the time. And you think I'm kidding about that? That's actually true.
I don't think you're kidding about that. It makes sense why you have such nice shoes now, though. Because you're buying the pairs he couldn't.
Yeah. Because he went to Latuna, which is a very if you're white there, you're my minority. And
that's the name of the prison?
Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably got butt fucked in prison. I'm pretty positive my dad for sure was somebody's bitch for a little bit, but it's all I hear is that, or he would tell me stories about how he got too fucked up at a whorehouse and fell down the stairs and broke his leg. And like, those are all the stories I know about my fucking dad are just like Like, I mean, like chasing people down, like in just his underwear with a knife. Like
That's awesome.
That's why he went to jail. And then because they found a gun and a bunch of drugs on him.
Bummer.
And like, yeah, it's all stories. Like, he's just my dad was like, you're gonna live forever. Like, he just had these stories where you're like, Jesus Christ. Like, he has a story where I don't think did I ever talk about this on the podcast?
I don't know the story.
Okay, so well, I mean, like about fucked up stories about my dad.
Yeah, you told a few, but I don't know if it's gonna be this one.
About how when my mom met my dad. Okay, so I'll just say it anyways. So like the two stories that she told me like within the first couple months of them meeting was like first time she like goes my dad did pretty well for himself at the time. So he had like a Porsche and then it was like winter time and then she's my mom's gonna go to his place or whatever. And he's like, oh, follow me. And then he drives like a fucking psychopath. And this is like backwoods, Madison, Wisconsin. So she's like trying to keep up and he just like takes off. And then she finally catches up to him because he flew off the curb and then flips his car upside down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great first impression.
Right. And then so that happened. And another time he's a big motorcycle guy. They had a motorcycle and motorcycle breaks down, right? It's dark out. He's like, hey, let me check on the bike. And he uses a lighter to like light to see. And guess what was happening? It was a leaky gas tank. And he lit it on fire. And then he's like, go, go, go. And then they run and the bike explodes.
Oh my God. No,
Yeah.
you've not told these stories.
Yeah, these are like, I mean, the first time I helped my dad move
Great
from
pickup lines.
Yeah, I know. I helped my dad move from Albuquerque to this is when he first kind of came back in my life. From Albuquerque to Madison.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like he had this like
Trek.
Yeah, he had like a 10-footer, maybe 12-footer like truck, a huge truck with this car he was gonna give me when I was gonna turn 16 on the latch of it. And this motherfucker is driving it with his like knee while he's cutting up a summer sausage, putting it on crackers and eating it like that. Where I'm just like this while he's like kind of like going over the other lane and like kind of swerving. And then later on that night, he's like falling asleep at the wheel. And I'm like, Dad, hey, we should probably stop. He goes, I know when to stop. And I was just like, I don't know, you're getting kind of tired. Like, let's just. And he goes, no, I'm fine. And then he pulls out this picture. No idea why he has it. And he shows it to me. It's his car. And the roof of the car is flattened down to the door. And he goes, that's the last time I fell asleep at the wheel. Like I flipped it 4 times. And he goes, I walked out of it just fine though. And like he just like has these.
No wonder he lived his life the way he did. He really thought he was bulletproof.
He thought he could live forever.
It's like our buddy Sean Flannery has a million stories of him almost dying.
Yeah. Oh man, he has a story about riding his motorcycle and he's going up a mountain, and his story is the car cuts in front of him, and he's going right at it, and he's probably going like 100 miles an hour or 80 or whatever he's doing, and then he's just like, I had 3 options, and I was like, what are the options? He's just like, all right, well I go right, and then I just go off the cliff, and hopefully I can catch a tree or something. He goes, I keep going forward, and then I end up hopefully if I angle it right, I'll just end up in their backseat, or I can go hit the front of the car and roll off it, and then I run really quick and hopefully catch up. So he did that, and he ran really quick, but of course he can't. There's too much momentum, so he flips over a bunch of times, and he goes like grab his hand. His hand is turned all the way around because he didn't let go of the handlebars in time, and it hit so far that it twisted his hand. Like he has a million stories, had a million stories like that, which was just like
brutal,
just insane. I mean, I'll tell a story again, but I know I told this on the podcast about when he ran into his brother.
Yes.
Yeah, but the jet ski thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, the point is he fucking like was trying to be funny, and he's gonna like shoot at his brother with a jet ski and then spray him, and then he just forgot to turn, and he just runs straight into his brother, and then if you ask him about the story, he goes, that's the time when I bought 2 jet skis because he had to buy the jet skis.
Oh my God.
He's a fucking psycho. Which is great, but he's had so many good stories. Like, I mean, like I make fun of your dad, but those are great stories.
Yeah,
you know, like our dads are psychos.
That's
great. From that era.
I think that's just great, though. I don't know. I don't mind hearing stories like that. I mean, because if you look at it through a 2025 lens, they would tell you, well, you and your dad should have knocked on the door, had a conversation with the boy's mother, saying, hey, they were throwing snowballs at my son and throwing snowballs at our apartment, blah blah blah. No, instead it was like, you know. Fuck it. Let's throw snowballs back at them. See how they like it.
Yeah, and he's also kind of like, let's use it
as
a bonding experience.
Yeah. Total bonding experience.
Yeah.
And then when I threw that kid's hat, my son Dylan was like, yeah, that's my dad. He's got my back.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I'm dead, they're going to look back and be like, my dad didn't like when people fucked with us.
That was my problem. My dad is like, I could never be. I was always afraid if I was just like, oh yeah, my dad could beat up your dad. He goes to prison, and then I was afraid that they'd be like, no, my dad used to beat up your dad in prison, and I'd be like, oh okay, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. What's next on your list? Because so far I've done Phil Dunphy and I've done the dad from Young Sheldon.
We talked about last week, but I'll just reiterate the fact: James Avery, Uncle Phil.
Damn it, Uncle Phil's on my list too. That's
Okay.
good. So that's good. We'll eliminate one. We both have Uncle Phil. He did a great job raising his own kids, and I know what you're going to say. Bring it on. We did talk about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Why did we talk about it last week? Are we talking about Will Smith?
What were we talking about?
What the fuck was the podcast last week?
Oh, deaths.
Oh,
Oh
Celebrity
yes,
Deaths.
yeah, the death that fucked us up.
Yeah, his death.
Yeah,
fucked
because
you up.
it was a father figure to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell the scene that you want to tell, though, right?
Yeah, he didn't want me, man, because that brought my dad stuff into it too, where he
'Cause-
just shows up and just leaves.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for the listeners who don't know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, popular show in the 90s, ran for about 7 seasons, I want to say. Will Smith's dad comes back and he thinks, this is great. My pops is back in my life. I'm so happy. But then his dad lets him down again. He ditches him without
Yeah,
saying
again.
goodbye. So, of course, Will gets super emotional. And you told last week about how the actor, James Avery,
Yeah.
he made Will do it like 80 times.
Yeah.
And fucking nailed it. And
Yeah.
that scene is one of those, it's probably one of the most iconic, you know, even though it's not a father-son moment, it's an uncle-son moment
Yeah.
that like has been in sitcom history
But it is
or
like
television even history.
yeah, but it's
it's
like one of
dramatic.
those moments. Like, yes, it's not a father-son moment, but it is a father-son moment, and it is like it's the moment where it's just like I'm your father now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like moment, like I'm here for you. Like fuck him. Like just because I'm not your dad by blood doesn't mean I'm not going to be your dad in your life. Right?
Because Uncle Phil was always kind of hard on Will.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because he wanted the best out of him,
Right.
you know? But in that moment, no, like even Uncle Phil lets his guard down because when Will says, you know what? He never did this, learned how to do that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Got pretty good at picking up women. And the whole time Uncle Phil's just smiling. I'm like, yeah, you
you
did.
did, yeah.
Yeah, you're a good basketball player too, Will. Yeah, you did all this stuff without him. Yeah, you got it, Will.
Yeah.
And then when he just fucking breaks down, that's when he just grabs him and brings
Yeah.
him in and gives him
And
the
he-
tightest hug you could give a
Dude,
person.
and just knows to just let him
Let him.
just go through all the emotions at that moment. Just, you know, and just hugged him when he needed the hug.
That is one of the best television scenes
Yeah, yeah.
ever from a comedy or a drama.
Mm-hmm.
So my next one, we'll share Uncle Phil. So this will be my number 4. I've got Dan from Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a moment there where it's like, not only am I going to be a protector to my children and you know what it was with that relationship between Roseanne and Dan on the show Roseanne. A lot of our younger listeners might not know it, although the Connors came back. So maybe it was a refresher course for a lot of people. Dan was stern, but he would also be a little bit sillier because Roseanne would get into it with the daughter so much. So he had to be kind of the softer side. I like when I see TV couples or couples in real life kind of be like, all right, we got to balance each other. We can't both be this for obvious reasons. So, but the scene in particular that made me think, damn, that's a good TV dad. And it really makes him a good husband and friend as well. Her sister, Jackie, gets physically beaten by her boyfriend.
Jesus.
And when Dan finds this out, he knows immediately what he has to do. And he goes and beats the shit out of the guy.
Really?
Yes. And when he comes back, like it was pretty obvious what happened. He tries to kind of hide it. And they come to arrest him. But the cops aren't even mad because they know why he did it. So they're just
Right.
like, damn, we got her. He's like, it's all right, boys. They cuff him. And then Roseanne gives him a piece of chicken because it's like,
Yeah.
we'll get you out soon and all that.
Yeah.
And he gives him there was just this, it was his wife's sister, who's his kid's aunt.
Excuse me. Sorry.
And they always kind of give each other shit because he'd always give her a hard time for being over there all the time
Yeah.
and stealing their food. But when push came to shove, he's got her back.
Yeah.
I think that's what I really like, those fiercely loyal moments between characters.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, someone's going to beat women. Fuck you, dude.
Mhm.
I wish they would have shown that. That's my
Yeah.
only regret is that show didn't show Dan beating that guy to a pulp, which would have been nice.
Yeah. I feel
John
like
Candy's perfect. Not
Oh,
John
he's-
Candy, John Goodman. That's
John
another
Goodman.
thing I do. I've done that on this podcast before.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to say John Goodman, but I say John Candy.
Yeah. I feel that's going to be a high moment for you when you finally get to beat the shit out of somebody for somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you done that? You had to have.
Yeah, well, making Gailey's bachelorette party,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did a
that's
good
right, yeah.
job of like protecting, her honor. A good friend of mine's girlfriend, he wasn't there, but his girlfriend this guy got fresh. And I
Yeah.
stepped in and did that.
Yeah.
For my mom.
Really?
Yeah, this was one of my first big jokes. This was the joke I first told that was like the longest joke I had. It was like a 4 or 5 minute joke. And it was the first time I attempted a joke that long.
Yeah.
I was doing this weird comedy variety show, and these two comedians I liked a lot would do a thing called True Hollywood Stories. It was like a play off the E stories. And, E had those True Hollywood Stories television series, and they would just make up these stories about celebrity encounters they had, but it was usually B-list celebrities, and they were funny. So I went up there, and I told a couple jokes, did all right, and then I'm like, they did True Hollywood Stories, I got True Fighting Stories, and I told a story about a fight I got into at a Kmart. I was hungover, and my mom thought her back was to the guy in front of her because she was pushing the cart, and I'm at the front of the cart where you give it a push, but she's like tugging it. She was like looking at the magazines or whatever. And she told me, she's like, I thought I heard the last swipe. So I took a step forward to, start to unload our stuff from the cart. And I stepped on the guy's foot. And I remember kind of that part. And she turned around and said, like, I'm sorry. And then he like mumbled something in a real thick Eastern European accent. And kind of looked like he was going to like make her flinch. And I fucking just saw red, dude. I felt like I teleported to the front of the cart. I don't remember working my way around it because there's not a lot of room between to go around a cart in a tight aisle. Kmart, for those of you listening who don't know, it's designed like a Target.
Yeah.
And then we went at it. I just had him by the collar. I'm knocking him off of stuff. And then we ended up rolling around on the ground.
How old are you at this moment?
I think it was 18.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I think it was summer going into freshman year of college, perhaps. Because I remember that day, I got ejected from a baseball game. I was in a summer league baseball league, and I got ejected. And I told all my friends the story in warm-ups. Even my coach heard the story. My coach was a Chicago cop. So when I got ejected, he was like, too much testosterone from you today.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So that the ejection happened afterwards?
Yeah, it was the morning, and it was an afternoon game.
Whoa.
Saturday afternoon game. The ejection was afterwards.
Well, you're probably still like...
I was pitching, and I thought I was getting squeezed down the strike zone.
Well, I'm sure you're also bringing in what just happened that morning.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what he meant by too much testosterone. I think I was still amped, adrenaline going from that. It's a cool feeling when you do it. So what's your next on your list?
Okay, this one meant a lot to me. Almost number one, but my number one, you'll see why it's my number one. But Sandy Cohen, the OC.
I don't know the OC as a show, and I don't know what the father was like.
He was great. He was just great. Even the way, like when someone just has a voice that just is soothing, and he's just a great father figure. Like, was harsh when he needed to be harsh, but just ultimately was just like ultimate like he's like, it's like the show where like, yeah, he's got a shit ton of money, but really he's like a guy from like a small town, not a small town, but like didn't have a lot of money and just always was rooting for like the small guy, the little guy, and then just kind of came into this money. So he has like, he's in this world that he kind of hates and he wants to be above everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And shows it through like how he's a father and how he carries himself.
That's awesome. Yeah, sounds like a good one. That kind of is similar to my final pick. My final pick is Hal from Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay.
Played by Bryan Cranston, who, what a career he's had, and it only gets better, it feels like. In that show, he was really a silly guy. The mom was the disciplinarian. She was tough. So he was really silly. So every now and then when it showed him having to be tough, it was pretty great. The impact you felt more as a viewer. And he did a good job raising the boys to kind of be a unit within each other, even though they're always at each other's throats a lot of times on that series. There's a great episode where they go to some rich fancy place and someone is just incredibly rude to the mom. And to the point where they all just look at each other like, hell fucking no. And they're leaving the place, and then someone says something, without any communication with each other, they all instinctively walk back into the party and just start destroying shit. It's so hilarious and just out of control. But I just love I love any scene in a TV show and a movie where the characters know each other so well they don't have to speak. They just give each other a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Myself and friend of the podcast who's been on the show a couple times, Joe Fernandez, had a look like that last night at the pub.
What happened
We were
last
at
night?
the bar. Nothing to share.
Yeah.
But we had a moment where we both looked at each other, and I was like,
Yeah.
like
I do like a
but
good
we
moment
knew what
like
we were
that.
talking about.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, like when you're like kind of looking over and you look over your friend, you're like that. You just kind of know. Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I love that. That goes into my number one, which is Coach Taylor, Friday Night Lights, the greatest dad of all time. Same thing. There's so many moments in that show because he's also basically a dad to all these his football players, right? Where he would just give them a look and you could just tell, he just knew exactly what to do. Dude, if you want like a Will Smith cry scene, like there's this part where the show's been out for a while, so spoiler, but like Matt Saracen's dad passes away. He had maybe I'm bringing my own thing on this. Had a bad experience with his dad. Didn't really know his dad. He dies kind of out of nowhere, and then there's a scene where he just has this complete breakdown at dinner, right? And he's just basically just like, I don't want to hate anybody. I love everybody, and like I just want to be good to everybody, but I just hated him. I only hated him. I just want to be good for my mom. and then he just leaves, and then Coach Taylor goes out and it sits next to him, and he just looks at him. He goes, "I'm gonna walk with you a little bit," and then they just have a quiet walk in a show. They just have like a 5-minute just quiet walk, and it was just one of those moments where it was just like. He says that he said he did everything and without a single word. You know
I gotta watch that show.
It's a great show. He's so fucking good, and also him and Tammy Taylor are just like they don't really have any problems in the show as a couple. They're just like they always are generally making the right move, and they're just
is that Connie Britton?
Connie Britton. She's incredible in that. She's
great.
So good. It's the best casted, one of the best casted shows of all time.
Is that streaming anywhere?
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu. No, I think it's on Netflix.
All right, I got it.
You should watch it.
Now I'm looking for a show to dive into.
Yeah, we talked about that last night. I don't know why I didn't mention that.
You guys gave me you mentioned it to me.
Did I?
You said it's only 5 seasons though.
Yeah, but it's good.
Laura was saying you need like a 20-season show.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, that's gonna be my choice then. Friday
Yeah,
Night
it's
Lights.
good. The second season, you got to power through. There's some really good parts in it, but you got to power through.
That's the only thing I know about that show because there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where someone's watch Friday Night Lights. He goes, "Oh, amazing show." Skip season 2.
No, there's a lot happens in it, but that's during the writer's strike, so it's kind of like, but when they come back, and then Michael B. Jordan comes back, and he's so good in that fucking show. And
I forgot he's in there.
Oh, he's really good.
And Taylor Kitsch, the guy who plays Gambit in Wolverine,
he's great in that too.
He was good casted as Gambit.
He's a better actor than he should. He's great in that show because he used to be like a model.
Oh man, I saw him in. There was a show on Netflix about the opioid crisis. But it was like real acting. I thought it was a documentary when I clicked on. I'm like, oh, this is a real story. I forget what it's called. But he's phenomenal in it, and his story is just so heartbreaking. And it's a common one that happens all through all the people who were screwed over by OxyContin.
He'll pop up in some good shit from time to time. He's he's on the Jonestown murder.
He should be bigger. I feel like.
Yeah, he's also not aged well, but
I've got 2
runner-ups.
2 honorable mentions just to throw. If you have any you could throw out there, and then we'll wrap up the episode. Thanks everyone for listening to Let's Get Done. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube and the Instagram and the TikTok. I have Red Foreman from That 70s Show.
Yeah.
Super hard ass, but his kids
I
needed
figured
it.
he was going to be on your list. I almost wrote him down where I was going to write down a list of who I think is going to be on yours.
There's such a funny scene too because they go to a Packers-Bears game, and for whatever reason, Eric is a Bears fan, even though they're in Wisconsin. He's probably just being a Bears fan to be difficult to his dad.
That's why I was a Cowboy fan growing up.
Yeah, and his dad was a Packers fan, and some other Packers fan is giving him shit. And he's like, all right. And then Red even says, all right, that's enough. He's telling a Packer fan, telling another Packer fan, let it go. And he says, what are you going to do about it? Blah, blah, blah. And then the Bears fan goes, you don't talk to my dad like that. And he's like, what are you going to do? And then Eric beats the shit out of the guy.
Yeah.
And the whole time Red is so excited. He's like, Eric's in a fight, and he's winning. Damn it, I'm the only one here. No one's going to believe this. Like, he's just having all this. And then when their security's dragging him out, he's like, oh, look at that rage. You really are a foreman. He's just so proud of his son for losing his shit.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh so hard because it was a side of that character you didn't see.
Yeah.
Because Red was always calling his son a dumbass.
Yeah.
You dumbass, and just being like that guy, which is a fun character for a TV dad. The reason I choose Ted Lasso is because it reminded me of what you were saying for Friday Night Lights, because Ted Lasso is also like a dad to his players.
Yeah.
He's not a great dad to his actual kid in a way because his kid is in Kansas and he's in London. So it's like a long distance thing, but his kid still seems really happy. They FaceTime a lot. So there's still some love there, of course. Not that there was hatred, but he does a great job with all of the players, like being whatever that role they needed to be in that moment, whether it's with the character Jamie Tart and all the shit he went through, because his dad's a piece of shit in that show. So have you seen Ted Lasso?
Just the first couple seasons.
It's a 3-season show, and
It's just the first season.
Season 3 is pretty fantastic.
Okay.
They wrap it up very nicely. Anything you want to plug? Or do you have an honorable mention? I'm sorry.
No, I don't. No, I don't have an honorable mention. I just like that you're like honorable mention. The bad guy from RoboCop.
Oh yeah.
Bitches leave. That's what dads say. I bet you my dad has said that multiple times. By the way, for sure, bitches leave has come out of Jeff Jurkens' mouth.
That actor's had a good career. Interesting one.
He's great.
Yeah,
he's
very good in his role.
So funny.
He plays a dad a lot, though. He's the dad in Dead Poets Society.
Is he really?
He's the dad that doesn't want.
Okay.
With Robin Williams as the star, of course. He doesn't want his kid to act. He was one of those dads, which was very common back in the day, to be like, I have your whole future planned for you.
Right.
You're going to go to this school. You're going to go to this college. You're going to get great grades. You're going to become a doctor, and that's what I want for you. And that's what you're going to do. And the whole time he's like, I did not sacrifice everything and pay for this high tuition for you to want to be an actor. You're going to be an actor. You act in this play again. And then the kid ends up, spoiler alert, on Dead Poets Society, kills himself.
Yeah.
And he's such a hard ass, but this is where he's great as an actor. He discovers the kid's dead body in his office because he used his gun to kill himself.
Jesus.
And he's just so like, no, my boy. And like, you just feel like,
Yeah.
I cried during that scene. Like, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, he's like, no, you can't undo it.
Right.
Obviously.
And he's
But
like, can you fly, Bobby? And he throws him out of the 10th floor of a building.
is that another RoboCop
There's
scene?
a RoboCop thing, yeah. Can you fly, Bobby? Ooh, guns. The tiger's playing tonight. And then he puts his finger in the wine. He goes and sniffs it up.
Dude, you know RoboCop. Do you write RoboCop? You
One
know
of my
everything.
It's the first radar movie I ever saw in the theater.
Damn.
I was
Dude.
Did
3.
we watch that together?
We did watch
No.
that together.
Oh, we
We did. I don't like cops because cops don't like. And he blows the guy's hand off, and he goes, "Does it hurt?" Or the black guy goes, "Does it hurt? Does it hurt?" You got to watch that movie.
I got to watch that movie. I think I saw it once when I was really little,
You've
but I
only
can't
seen
remember
it
it.
once.
I've only seen
You'll
RoboCop
love
once.
it now that you're an adult and you can appreciate like the satire in it too.
Yeah.
It's chef's kiss.
All right, I'm watching RoboCop.
Right.
The only thing I have to plug is just keep listening to this podcast. Subscribe to my
Yeah.
YouTube. Watch my stand-up. Go to joekilgallon.com. I got some dates on there. I got to update the website more frequently, though. I've been
Nobody checks out the website anymore.
slipping on that. Well, they might.
Yeah.
I think people do.
You think so?
How else do they buy tickets to see their comedian friends, or the comedians they like?
Instagram now.
I know, but the
the
Instagram
link-
links
your
to the
link tree?
website
Link
where
tree.
you buy the tickets.
Yeah.
You buy the tickets through my website.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
Yeah.
All right, check my Instagram then,
Well,
everyone.
don't. I mean, just catch up on your website.
I'm going to. Well, I post on the Instagram. I'm good about that. All right, that's been this episode of Let's Get Dumb. We hope happy Father's Day to all the fathers listening. If you're spending the day with your father, treat them well.
Should we
They
take a
love
picture of? This is a joke I think I've said before, but we should do a Father's Day picture where it's just you, me, in a booth with two skeletons
Oh,
with their arms
God.
around it. Just look at the camera, being, "Hey, happy Father's Day."
One of them's
dark
got a
son
needle
of a
in his
bitch.
One of them's got a needle in his arm, and the other
Oh,
one's just
Jesus.
punching another person in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. Funny though. I like it. Thank you for listening to Let's Get Dumb, everyone. We'll check you out next week. Cheers.
Cheers.